thing I can tell you is his driving was terrible. That wasn't his first time, and he was let go.
So you guys saw that video, you saw that driving, but then, and you say he was let go because his driving was terrible. But he was allowed to drive for 6 more months like that before he was let go. So you might have seen my recent video where I showed you this dash camera footage out of the Deland Police Department in Florida. This footage shows an officer not only doing a hit and run, then later lying about it, but this video was one of the most reckless displays of police emergency mode driving that I've ever seen. And as you'll see in the video, administration at that department agrees with me on that. They also say this probationary employee was terminated for what you saw in that video. That video that took place only a short time after the same officer had been involved in an at-fault crash totaling another police vehicle. The problem is, this incident took place in January of 2024. He was let go allegedly for what we see in this video in July of 2024, 6 months later. And as I mentioned before, they had long claimed this video didn't exist, and I'd tried to get it for several months. The department put it in writing that the video doesn't exist. They told FHP, who did the crash report, that it doesn't exist. But I persisted, and I had evidence that it does exist. And they terminated that cop at the exact same time that they eventually finally released this video to me. So did they release him because he's a danger to the community? Or did they release him only because they knew that the people were about to find out that they continue to allow him to be a danger to the community? A lot of people say that they feel that the Deland Police Department tried to cover this up. Sources say they're not happy that this video is now out there and you've seen it. So this is going to be the first update video to that initial video that many of you have been waiting for. We're going to talk to administration at the Deland Police Department, and we're going to go to the Florida Highway Patrol and try to talk to them. And again, that's the agency that took the report for this hit and run by the Deland cop, who were initially told that no video exists, and the officer received no charges, no citations, nothing from FHP for the hit and run that he lied about. From his own department, he did receive a written reprimand, but later was terminated for the same thing, the same incident, which isn't supposed to happen. So is there a cover-up? And how many agencies are involved if so? Stay tuned, let's see if we can find out. It's always been very tough to talk to admin at this department. They ignore emails, phone calls. If you catch them in person, usually you have to talk quick because they're going to get away from you as fast as they can. So as I'm walking up, I just happened to encounter Captain Dice walking out to his truck. So I have to rapid fire some things before he gets away. But to my surprise, this is going to be a rare occasion where he speaks to me. Hey, did you ever, after the fact, did you guys ever give FHP the video for Renda's crash? After the fact, with Renda's crash? I can't believe you're coming over and talking to me.
After the fact,
I've been trying to get your attention for a while. The Renda's crash that he had, well, the second one.
Yeah.
After the fact, FHP was told that there was no video of it. Were they provided the video at any point, you know?
I don't have any, I can't answer that. I'm not sure. I'm not the one that provided it.
Okay. You saw that video though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, because FHP was told there was no video.
I don't know who told him that.
It's in the report. It's in Deland's report.
Yeah, I don't know.
Says,
I don't know who's.
Yeah. I don't know. I was
share that with them.
It's also in his reprimand, Renda's reprimand for it. It says that there was no video. FHP was told there was no video.
Yeah, I don't have anything to do with that one.
Because I imagine he would have been charged with something had they seen that video. That video was pretty bad. You know, yeah, you saw it, right? Reckless through the stop signs, through the red lights, through the school zone and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I'm surprised he lasted 6 months after that. You know, he was on probation too, and I would imagine after seeing that, especially after already having an at-fault crash, I would imagine that'd be it. Like, you're out of here. But the official word was there was no video. Do you know how they said there was a problem with his Ethernet cable, so the video never saved. But people were telling me for a long time there is video. They're saying there isn't, but there is. And I finally saw it, and holy.
Well, good thing is, you know, he's out of here. Well, you know,
he is out of here. But you know what else is odd? They didn't terminate him. They gave me the video and terminate him at the exact same time.
I don't know what to tell you.
Which is odd. You know, it's odd timing because it went 6 months.
Yeah.
And then I've been trying to get that video for a while. Mm-hmm. They gave me the video. They let him go. Then gave him the video. Gave me the video. Same time. So it kind of just seemed to me like the decision was made. Everybody's about to see this video, and we know how bad it is.
No, it ain't that. I wouldn't say that would be a reason why we released the video.
No, not why you release the video. Why you release him?
Because that had nothing to do with it. We released him because the driving was terrible.
The driving was terrible, but he went 6 months after that.
Yeah, I can't answer.
And only like giving me the video and letting him go were hand in hand. They happened at the same time.
I get it, but I just can't answer to that, brother.
And well, I mean, you're a captain here.
Yeah, I understand.
So you guys saw that video, you saw that driving, but then, and you say he was let go because his driving was terrible, but he was allowed to drive for 6 more months like that before he was let go.
I don't know what to tell you, bro.
It just seems to me, man, you know how it looks. They're just, time and time again, there seems to be a lot of coincidence coming out of this department. You know what I mean? A lot of coincidental things.
The only thing I can tell you is his driving was terrible. That wasn't his first time, and he was let go.
Yeah, it wasn't his first time. That's probably the worst display of emergency response driving I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I agree, he should have been let go for it. I think everybody would agree. The only damn thing is nothing happened. It was 6 months. So then 6 months later, I don't understand why the decision was made 6 months later. If that was the reason, 6 months later, he's on probation, so nobody needs a reason. You can just be like, hey, get out of here. We're done,
Yeah.
But would you agree that would seem coincidental to someone outside, that giving me that video and releasing Renda at the same time, pretty coincidental?
I couldn't agree with that, man.
You don't think that seems coincidental?
Yeah, we released the video at that moment because we released the video. It had nothing to do with. We didn't release Renda because people would ask for the video.
No, not because people would ask for the video, but I think because
we gave it to you.
Typically what happens, typically what happens when it gets out there, people start making phone calls on their own. They send emails, they make phone calls, whatever they do, and they say, how the hell is this guy still on the road? Well, if you let him go at the same time, knowing that now people are going to see that video, the response can be, no, we let him go. We let him go. Not for a while, but we let him go.
No, the facts are the facts. We let it go 6 months after.
Right. At the same time the video was released.
I wouldn't tell nobody no, or I wouldn't expect the department to say, no, we let him go. No, we let him go if the question was asked, did we let him go 6 months after? That's a true statement.
It is a true statement, yeah. But I think they might still ask, why was he allowed to still do that for 6 months?
I won't be the source that you need to ask that question.
And why is it timed exactly with the release of the video? Who would be the person to ask that question?
I need to talk to somebody other than me, because I didn't I didn't investigate that. I wasn't involved in that.
Right. No. But so who? Not the investigation of the crash, but the decision to let him go and the decision to release the video. You oversee records, so you had something to do with the release of the video.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But I didn't have anything to do with the discipline.
So who would I talk to about that?
Any disciplinary decisions resulting in any type of progressive discipline that comes from the chief of police.
Right. So somebody else other than you released the video, but somebody else other than you at the same time released Renda. So who would that be?
The chief of police is the only person that can terminate an employee.
Okay. So, but you and the chief didn't communicate about those two things? So that would just be coincidental.
I can't get into something that, because I'll just be speaking something that I don't know.
Right. Well, I mean,
involved in that.
Right. No, just from your part. I mean, was the conversation had like, hey, I'm going to release this video. Okay, I'm going to release Renda.
We got information that we're gonna. Well, I'm sorry. We got the request, and we decided to release the video after we got the request. Once we got to that point of releasing it.
Right. It was a while. Like a lot of times, records usually are take a while for some reason of this department. But he had initially only received a written reprimand because they said there was no video.
I can't answer to that.
Yeah.
I wasn't involved in that process. But I can tell you that when the chief got a chance to review that, the chief made a decision to terminate his employment.
Let's just take a minute to reflect on what Captain Dice just said. He said that when the chief, Jason Umberger, got a chance to review that video, he made the decision to terminate his employment. This may imply that the chief didn't get a chance to review that video until 6 months later. I find this very odd. Odd because for months, multiple anonymous sources were contacting me to tell me that while the department officially claims the video doesn't exist, that they had seen the video. They said that it's dangerous, it's reckless, and it is bad. They insisted that I have to get my hands on that video, that people need to see it. Obviously, the chief isn't one of the anonymous sources, so other people below the chief knew about this, and they definitely saw it, and they immediately identified that this was something very serious that needed to be taken seriously. So are we to believe that the chief, who runs the entire department, he's in charge of everything? He's at the top. He either had no idea what's going on in the department, or maybe didn't take public safety seriously enough to have a look at what was going on until 6 months later. These things just don't add up. And it's things like this that are causing people to say that this was a cover-up attempt, and that his termination was just a cleanup attempt once they knew that the people were going to see what was going on, and they already knew how bad it was. When the chief saw the video, is that what it?
When he got a chance to review that, he made a decision that, hey, we need to terminate his employment, which I support his decision.
I think everybody supports that decision, but my only issue is, and just looking at it logically, it appears that the decision was made not because that video exists, but because people are about to see that video.
No, it was made because he violated policy.
Right, but
the chief saw that video, and the chief made a decision that he no longer needs to work here.
Yeah, he did violate policy. He got a written reprimand for it, but then when the video came out, he was terminated for it. So he kind of got double disciplined for it in that case, right? I'm just saying, regardless of anything, the timing of the two are super odd.
I mean, but I get it, I understand that, but the thing that we all can agree with is the video was terrible. You don't need the employee had to be released because of it, and we did the right thing. Yeah. No, I agree. He had to be let go. But you don't know if FHP was provided the video after the fact, because FHP was told that no video exists, but it did exist. So, at some point, if it was determined that video exists by anybody, FHP should probably, since they're in charge of the crash investigation, they should probably be provided, because that's evidence that they were told doesn't exist. I don't know why. Involved in that part of it.
Yeah. You seem a little down.
It's a long day.
Rough day?
I won't say rough, just long.
Long day.
Got a lot going on, man. So.
Well, I'm not trying to cause you problems. That's not my intent.
No, I don't look at it that way.
Yeah, I just try to.
I mean, you're doing what you do. I got to do what I got to do.
I look for what's right and what's, and when we find issues, we got to, they have to be looked into.
I get it.
They have to. So now we're going to try to get the FHP report from FHP, which was not an easy task. But let me know what you think of this interaction with Captain Dice. I was getting the impression that he's a bit uncomfortable, almost as if he's trying to distance himself from some elements of that incident, making a point to say that he's not involved with some parts of it and saying, hey, that's the chief. I didn't do that. That's all the chief. Almost as if he knows it's wrong. He knows what happened. It's just an assumption, just from what I'm seeing. Like he knows how bad it looks. He'll never tell us, but he knows. So we are over at the Florida Highway Patrol Troop D office in Deland, Florida. This is the unit that would have done the initial hit and run investigation. Now, I just wanted to get a copy of the report. Should be simple enough, but it wasn't. It was very difficult and took a few days and some phone calls. And that's a whole story we'll save for a different day. That became a story in itself. I did eventually get the report that I should have easily been able to get here. And remember, when FHP wrote this report, they were told by the Deland Police Department that there is no video. FHP estimated that Officer Renda did about $3,000 in damage to the Deland police car and about $7,500 damage into the citizen's car that he hit and then ran. and then later lied about hitting it. In the narrative, FHP states that the officer was traveling lights and siren in emergency mode. Then they say that the officer made a wide right turn at a high rate of speed. While attempting this right turn, the vehicle traveled westbound into the eastbound lanes and ran off the left shoulder. As a result, he struck the citizen's vehicle. It says that vehicle 2 remained on scene. Vehicle 2 would have been the citizen's parked unoccupied vehicle. Obviously, it remained on scene because nobody was in it, and they didn't even yet know that it had been hit. They say the driver of vehicle 1, which would have been Officer Renda, did not stop or return to the scene of the crash at any time following this crash. Vehicle 1 left the scene of the crash. Now, we saw the entire display of driving, which was horrendous. So with even all of that aside, just this hit and run and leaving the scene, for a citizen, you think you're going to get away with nothing at all? It's not just traffic infractions, it's a crime. But the police are like, hey, we're the police. Sometimes we forget how to drive safely in emergency mode, and we take turns way too fast and crash into stuff in the grass on the opposite side of the road. It just happens. And the narrative just goes on to basically say how the vehicle owner came to find out and when, that they called the Deland Police Department and all that stuff. They don't add, and this is probably because they weren't told, that Officer Renda insisted that he never hit anything in that area. Never hit anything at all. If it were not for the witness, the neighbor across the street, seeing the police car hit the vehicle, this report would have said unknown suspect. So the hit and run driver, Officer Renda, received no charges and no citations. A break a citizen surely would never get. Even the crash diagram they constructed for this report makes it pretty clear that that was some very poor and pretty reckless driving. You pull a move like that and hit a parked car and see what happens. But here's where it gets super interesting. Now let's recall that the Deland Police Department for some time insisted that that Dashcam video did not exist. They have it in writing. They said the Ethernet cable was damaged and the video could not be archived. It was never saved. This is officially what Deland PD said. And like I said before, sources within that department started reaching out and saying, hey, there is video. They're saying there isn't, but there is, and you got to see it. It's really bad. Now, if you've seen my other videos, it's no secret to you that we often have all sorts of problems trying to get public records from Deland Police Department. And this one was no different. First, we had to get past the hurdle of convincing them that we know that it exists, even though they insist that it does not. And this is a record I had to submit requests for at least 3 times. And these requests began back in April. Now, April would have been after the time that other members of that department have seen the video, because remember, they reached out to me and said that they saw it. Now, you would think an honest, accountable, and transparent department, if when this incident first occurred and they genuinely believed there was no video, there was some problem with the cable or whatever, and they genuinely thought there was no video, well, you'd think as soon as they realized that there is, they would contact the Florida Highway Patrol. And they'd say, hey, we were wrong, we do have this video. And again, it's my belief that they always knew there was video, but they know how bad it is. And I would guess they may have assumed if FHP had that video and it went out right away, that could have been something that's newsworthy. That would have made the department look pretty bad. But these are just my theories. But it turns out the Deland Police Department did give FHP this video, or at least let them view it. But not until May 17th. This is well after I started requesting the video, and even longer after people in that department started reaching out to me about this video. And as a result of seeing that video, FHP added an update to the initial report. After reviewing dash camera footage of this crash and additional records supplied by the Deland Police Department, the crash investigation has been completed and this report updated to reflect. The Florida Highway Patrol, Deland District Command staff conducted a review of the crash and determined that charges will not be filed. So after seeing what at the time of the making of this video over 250,000 of you have seen and were disturbed by, FHP still didn't feel like any charges or citations are warranted. Side note, contact information to agencies is also always in the description of every video, should you decide to reach out to any agencies on your own to redress your grievances, share your feelings. But FHP, after seeing that, felt, it's all right, no big deal. But this also raises another concerning point. Remember what Captain Dice said. Renda was terminated allegedly when the chief got around to reviewing the video because his driving is horrible and is a danger to the public. I personally believe they knew all the entire time, and he was allowed to continue that for 6 months until they realized that everybody was going to see it. But this FHP report confirms that the chief should have known about it by at least May 17th because they gave it to FHP. So if not 6 months, that's at least 2 months that Deland knowingly allowed that officer to continue to operate police vehicles within that city. All of this is explaining why DICE seemed a bit uptight, a bit uncomfortable, and why they say administration at that department is a bit stressed right now. Because sometimes the truth looks bad, and some people will dig to find it. Captain DICE said only Chief Umberger has the power to terminate an employee. And again, this is a probationary employee, so they can just let him go at any time without cause. Many believe they hoped to just keep this quiet, and no one would be the wiser. Get to the comments and share what you think with this new information. But I don't know how the police department can explain this away. They can only make so many excuses. And if they just would have done the right thing from the start, none of this would be an issue. We've got a lot of theories and opinions, but we've also got a lot of facts. And none of those cast a very positive light on Deland Police Chief Jason Umberger. We've got a little bit more to still dig into with this, so stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on so you'll be notified when the next updates come out. And in the meantime, check out some other videos, including a playlist of lots of other issues and coincidences at the Deland Police Department.